seem to have stumbled across my stream. Yeah, so if you're watching this on the replay, this is Dungeons and Dragons, looking at Dragons of Icespire Peak. So we are on episode 3. We have someone already watching, so that is cool. Who is watching? Who is that one person? Yeah, if you're watching on the replay, please, you can still comment, you can still interact. I will read the comments. And we've got 3 weeks in a row right now, so we're doing alright. And we're going to look at another chapter. And we're also going to look at Sidekicks, I think. So it's a bit of a chill hangout. Swapping advice on how you would run it, how you have run it, whatever. So, what are we actually looking at? Let's have a look. So, I chose what seemed like the next logical step. I don't know if I could probably make that bigger like that. It's called Mountain Toe. Mountains Toe Gold Mine. It's what, 10, 20, is it, hang on, is this 5? So it's 15 to 20 miles away. If you walked across the hills and the fields, dangerously close to the foot of the mountain. But let's look at the quest. Right, as we get to Phandalin, we get a series of quests, and we've looked at the first 3, and now we are looking at Mountains Toe Quest. Yes, it says 15 miles northeast of Phandalin. The new overseer, Don John Raskin, just made the trip from Neverwinter to Phandalin. Okay, he's from the big city. He needs to be escorted to the Mountains Toe mine. There's no telling what dangers lie between here and there. Once you deliver Raskin safe and sound, return to Townmaster Harbin Wester to collect a reward of 100 gold pieces. Okay. So it does say, there's no telling what dangers lie between here and there, which is about the only hint you get that there's meant to be something on the road. And in the past stream... Ooh, someone's commented. Who have we got here? Micah! Whoa, Mississippi! Micah, I think you popped in last week. So, yeah, thank you. That is cool that you're watching live. That means a lot. Extra special attention. Yeah, so we looked at doing things on the road last week, and I have a book which you may already have. Let me go full screen. It is called The Game Master's Book of Random Encounters, and these are renowned for being very, very useful. So yeah, random encounters, and right at the back we're going to do a roll. Micah, can you tell me a number between 1 and 100 if you wouldn't mind so much? And if you don't want to, I'll end up picking one. I need a number between 1 and 100, please. And there's generally there we go. And there's generally a delay on the comments. I know it's infuriating. 57, my good man. Okay, so this entry gives like an NPC, I think. So you could meet an NPC on the road, is where I'm going with this. 57. First name, Ori. Second name, Bingletrite. A brief description, this is all you get. Has a drippy nose and, oops, that's wrong one, is wearing clothes that are 3 sizes too big. Why? We don't know. What wants and needs, who is on the hunt for a red dragon egg in the area. We already know there's a white dragon, and this gives us the option to introduce other dragons, and what, that's dangerous. That's a case of Does he know how dangerous, dragons are, particularly red ones? And is working against the party's interests. Okay. So he also carries 31 copper pieces, a rudimentary colouring book, and some coloured wax pieces, which seems unusual, but it's unique, it's random. We will take it. So meeting someone on the road, as I say, in previous options of these videos, 1, 2, and now 3, we look at extra things we can put in. I wonder if this has a random I want more of a... I would change that to a green dragon for the campaign. What, because the red's too hard, or because of the Phandolin's green, the Lost Mines green dragon? Maybe you're thinking of that. So look, I'll need to go to my other notes. I did some other notes. But yeah, I mean, if you change it to what you want, but is there any reason you would change it to a green dragon? While I get my notes up for the mine. Now, the thing is, what did I call it? Here we go. Oh, I think some of them are in photos. Micah. Yep. If you intro a new dragon, then you have 3. Okay. So, we know that we've got to take an NPC, and you could... That's what I was going for. You could use those things we just read out as a description of this guy we've got to move around. Okay, so we need to look at the mission itself, and then we can look at how we're going to change it a bit. So we've got 15 miles of travel, and I'm sure it says... I'm sure it says in the entry itself, if we go to that he talks all the way. So we're looking at Mountain Toe. Okay, I've got to go to the table of contents, or we'll be here all day. Mountain Toe. Okay, location overview. I don't care about what level it's right for. We're Dungeon Masters. We do what we want with that. It's owned by a business consortium in Neverwinter and has been troubled by recent productivity problems. That comes from the workers, or maybe they're just having a bad time getting gems out of the mine, which is weird why Harbin Wester is the guy to put him on the quest. It seems much more likely to be the gem place in Phandalin, which the name's escaped me. What is the gem place? Miners something. Man looks in book. Phandalin's Miners Exchange. Okay, so that's what I was thinking. Check for any more comments. Boom. I constantly had a little flash of green or white in the distance for my pace to keep the 2 dragons always... That is good, yes. Because I think it's even the big white dragon at the end. People just forget, don't they? Because it's just meandering around this town. And it's like, there's a huge threat that you're meant to be preparing for. So if you two do put other dragons of different colours, again, that just further puts it in their brain. There is a dragon, or many dragons. So this no-nonsense overseer, Don John Raskin, to sort things out, but neither Raskin nor the owners know that the troubled mine has recently been taken over by a band of weirats, calling itself the Whiskered Gang. These weirats can basically be used or lifted entirely. Why? Do we know why the weirats are in here? So to complete the quest and get paid, they escort Don John to the mine. He sees the weir rats are in there and he urges the characters to eliminate them. If the characters refuse, then Ruskin gets turned into a weir rat himself. I mean, a fight breaks out, I guess, unless they all just run away. And, yep, if you intro a new dragon, you are free. I constantly had little flashes. Oh, I've done them. I've done them. Back to my other screen. So, role-playing Don John. Full of bluster and stories of exploits, he walks and talks like a giant. He has worked as a gold prospector, miner, a fur trader, a privateer and a whaler. So he knows everything there is to know. He's climbed up the ranks. You're going to have to potentially do NPC dialogue for a cart ride, a horse ride, a walk. I'll tell you about the time I got these furs out in the... What's it called? I can't remember what... The Sea of Moving Ice, that's what I'm thinking of. Up in Ilusk. So if they're going to... you're even on a trading post on the outskirts of Neverwinter for a few seasons. Yeah, it's a big deal. If the characters take up the quest to escort Raskin to the mine, they'll find him at the Stonehill Inn. And Townmaster Harbin Wester has an agreement with Raskin's employers to ensure the Overseer reaches the mine safely. So they've apparently given word to the town man and said, we'll hire some people or get him to the mine safe. I think the weir rats were driven into the mine as a new home after the orc takeover of the area 100 plus years ago. The orcs do keep getting mentioned, and we did get a little bit at the Dwarven mine, or Dwarven, that building we looked at before, the Dwarven excavation chapter. Unbelievable! I always watch your YouTube shorts. Greetings, Colombia. My viewers are so much from all over America, which is awesome. That is fantastic. Yes, my YouTube shorts and my DM guides are my two strongest bringing of viewers. And we're just looking at a DM guide, which is something else I love to do. So Julian, great to see you, my friend. Thanks so much for watching. So we have to take this guy. As I said, various different ways of getting him to town, and we have to ensure that he gets there. And basically, to me, that means his life needs to be in danger. What have we got? Off the top of your head, you've got wolves, things that just want to eat. You've got bandits who are going to basically charge you, hold you at knife point and give me all your money, and potentially kill somebody. So you need to amp up the risk. Although, because I made the mistake. Okay, it's mistake time. This is how we all learn what not to do. When I prepped, I did know that you had to escort this guy to the mine, but when I actually ran it for my table, he was already in a little shack at the mine, and travel was, done in minutes. And I was like, why does he not? He lives here. He's here on site. How does he not know that the mine is full of weir rats? It didn't matter. So the storytelling, as he showed them round the mine, he was like, oh, it's infested with weir rats. Come take a look while I regale you with stories of my past businesses. It didn't matter. The players didn't know I did it wrong. They wouldn't have cared. They just want to play and roll dice. So, let your blunders be wonders. Yeah, let's get that on a t-shirt. So, yeah, Harbin Wester. We've already spoke about maybe having the townsfolk trying to oust him from his position because he's rubbish. Maybe he's taking a big payment from these guys in Neverwinter, and perhaps Don John Raskin can assist some information on that sort of wavelength to the players that, oh yeah, he takes a tidy sum, but he doesn't seem to put it back into this village. You know, he's making a fat coin off it. The fastest way to reach the mine from Fandolin is to head northeast, skirting the foothills. Yes, but there is, if we look at the map, there is like a main road, the high road, and then the Tribor Trail, which you have to remember the Tribor Trail is a winding, you know, bit of grass and mud. It's not a decent road. It literally is a hiker's trail, which they managed to get carts and horses on. So it's whether your players say, we're going to go directly across on foot, you know, the hills, etc. And so if they're doing that, I would give them more of a challenge. If they're going 15 miles for every hex, I'd put 3 encounters on the way and say, well, you should have stuck to the road, you know. But that's just me. Dead orcs, yeah, you're right, Micah. These orcs seem to be an integral part. The party gets within 5 miles of the mine, and a low ridge rises to your right, beyond which you see the mountains. Brilliant. Well, ain't that something? And there are 6 dead orcs. The orcs were killed by Cryovane the White Dragon, the DMs are told. They are clad in hide armour, and the great axes and javelins litter the ground around them. So you want your characters to go over and see what happens. I mean, are they in pieces? Have they got massive chunks out of their abdomens? Or is it simply that they're covered in cold and ice and frost damage, you know? Don John will just say, look, looks like a white dragon saved us from some trouble. I feel I would like to have an alive orc here to actually verbally communicate. There's a dragon in the area, and even though we are hassling all you guys and everyone, you know, who lives in this area, we need to join forces because this problem is bigger than us. So there's a potential to get a small orc raiding party to go to the showdown and take down Cryovane. That seems like a nice tidy up, even for just a starter DM. What about chase? Something like the dragon chasing your characters. How do you recommend to rule a situation like that? Well, you would have to fudge it. You would have to have the dragon, and that's kind of giving the dragon away early on. But you could, like you say, I guess what you're suggesting is it comes in, makes more than just a flyby. It could basically have an attack, potentially downing a player, showing its threat. That would be another reason to have an orc there. Maybe the orc is the person to get whipped up, dropped from a huge height, thus showing Cryovane is a threat, you know. Maybe the orc is much bigger than your characters, therefore that's why he's the tastiest and easiest to grab. It twists him in half, bites a bit of him and drops the other half, tumbles down to the ground splat. But as for how I would rule it, I wouldn't play it out in a normal battle. This thing needs to stay in the air. It swoops down. It's like a surprise round. They're at a disadvantage. You want your players to be able to have an attack on it, but they're not going to kill it. And it's just going to come in, bang, you know, do some damage and fly off. We've already suggested a flyby where it comes down and gets a sheep. So if you used that, then we've already had a similar thing before. It nicked a sheep. This time it's something else. It's something bigger. It's an orc. Maybe it sort of takes it up, the orc, and it struggles to get through. No, it hasn't got metal armour. But they're carrying like axes and spears. Maybe it's like, ow, an axe. I'm trying to bite into something that's got an axe in it. And just spits it out. I had the dead orcs loot one weapon of silver on them. A silver weapon because none of my PCs had such a weapon for the Weir Rats. Fantastic. Love it. I didn't even think of that, yeah. yeah, because we're rats, obviously struggling from some form of lycanthropy, and I don't think we've discussed in any video yet my lycanthropy. Basically, it's taken from a podcast where they do stress die. And let's say I'm the DM of your game and you get bitten by something which is allegedly going to give you lycanthropy to turn into whatever, a were rat, a werewolf, a were bear, were boar, yeah, both things. And I would say I'm going to roll a d6 behind my DM screen. I roll it, it's a 5, you don't know that. And then every time you get in a fight or you're stressed and you're like, your blood levels are rushing, I'll say, right, I want you to roll me a d6. And if it ever gets to 10, then you wolf out or you were rat out. It becomes apparent. But every time you rest, or heal, you roll a d6 and it reduces that number back down again. And basically, if you do wolf out, you have to be knocked down to a quarter hit points or 0 to sort of go back to normal. That is just a little thing that I do that you might take something from. But a silver weapon is a great idea. Listen to this guy. He's good. The characters arrive at the west entrance to the mine. So hidden among bushes, a tunnel burrows into a foot of soaring snow-capped mountain. Above the mouth of the tunnel is a wooden plank with the words Mountain Toe. So this guy you're escorting doesn't have a map. He's never been before. He knows nothing about its layout. The ceilings are braced at 8 feet high with wooden beams. Doors inside, iron hinges, wood doors, iron hinges and handles, fitted with locks, but none of them are locked. The keys needed to unlock and lock them are gone, stolen by the previous overseer who legged it. Oil lanterns hang from hooks in every room and tunnel, so we know it's lit. The west entrance. Fine. As I say, I had some sort of shack nearby where an overseer would have his tea and coffee, put all his plans and paperwork in order. So maybe there's a hut that they can safely rest in before they attack the mine, so to speak. And as we can see, this map is quite higgledy-piggledy. And there is an east entrance, but they're not going to, give you a direction which they enter from. So I, as I say, would have fired this to my screen at the time and allowed the players to say, I go in M1, then I go in M2, or I go to M5. And it's absolutely fine. I don't think there are any secret doors in here. Anyway, from the looks of it. But you can do Fog of War. You could potentially draw this out one room at a time. You're just doing any old shape, shoving a door there. It's not going to end up necessarily coming out looking exactly like this. That does not matter at all. You could have another map you've bought, which is just like a load of rooms. And as long as the players understand the rooms are different locations, any map could work, but you could use a physical map on the table that doesn't look like this. But with this on the screen, it's like if you want to tell me where you're going, tell me on the screen, but I'll just put you in one of these rooms on the physical map and we'll call that M6, So, we'll go room by room. So the adventurers are much, they're the muscle. He doesn't know that there are were-rats in here. Why would the players go in? I mean, the DM knows that there are were-rats in here. But this is what got me. I guess M1 gives some sort of answer. The cave is guarded. So yeah, outside of his mine, we can have 2 humans, I suppose. Although it says hybrid form. Does that mean the human form? Hybrid's 2 things, isn't it? But anyway, they're not going to be like rat on the bottom and man on top. Yeah, I think the idea is that they're in a secret disguise. We are the miners. Yeah, honestly, we work here. Hey, we can show you around, but if they show Don John around, then what do the players do? Turn around and go, yeah, job done. We escorted him. We need to get the players inside, you know. Realistically, you want to give away, you know, give me an insight check. There's something about these you feel these miners look like they've not done a lot of days' work in their life. Get some intrigue. Maybe you should, you know, just spend 10 minutes going inside and making sure it's going to be all right. And even the NPC saying, "Oh, it's all right. You don't have to come in. We'll take care of him." Sort of, you know, alarm bells are ringing with the players. Something's not right here. So M2. Okay, we're going south. We go through a door which is open, a wooden door, and in M2, wooden posts used for shoring up tunnels and caves lean against the wall here. It's not exciting, is it? It doesn't have to be, I suppose. It makes sense. It's like when they put toilets in maps. It's like, yeah, it makes sense. It does make sense. But there's nothing here. Unless, if this was vampires, you could sort of think, yeah, wooden posts, that's worth noting. There's nothing to say these can't be vampires, apart from not 2014 vampires. You'd have to do like the vampire minions and not have perhaps so many of them. It would also make sense that they were in darkness, actually, come to think of it. Just an idea. Okay, we see some wooden posts. We walk right through. Let's go in M3. Okay, you go through a door. Stacked up against the walls of this storage area are a dozen empty crates and a similar number of empty casks. Your players was I opened one of the crates, but the empty crates. Okay, I opened some of the casks. Has it got beer in it? No, they're empty. Great. So here's a room with some wooden posts. Not interesting. Here's a place with some crates. They're all empty. Not interesting. When does this actual chapter kick in? So we'll come back to it. Up to M4, which is a large area, big enough for a battle, perhaps. Scattered around this cave are pickaxes, shovels, and mining tools, weapons of all sorts. The northeast section has 4 giant rats. The southwest section contains were rats in human form. 1 male were rat for each member of the party, and not sidekicks. We are going to look at sidekicks towards the end of this stream. Plus a female were rat named Zeline Varnaster, the leader of the Whiskered Gang. So by M4, we're already in with the leader. If Zeline dies, another were rat takes over as leader, as long as any of them survive, but not necessarily instantly. So the were rats invaded the mine after orcs, you were right about the orcs, pushed them out of their previous lair, an old shrine near Conyberry. The were rats say they'll go back to their old lair if the characters get rid of the orcs at the shrine, so it's were rats versus orcs. Obviously, the players will just get rid of both. This is only a ploy. The were rats have no intention of abandoning this mine. Treasure. Get off. Characters who search the cave find 2 sacks under debris. A sack contains 10 fist-sized chunks of gold ore, and the other has, well, bits of money and goggles of night. Just night vision goggles sort of thing, aren't they? Goggles of night. Make you look like an owl. You have dark vision out to 60 feet. Or it increases their range by 60 feet if you already had it. I mean, yes, kind of cool. Goggles of night. Yeah, I suppose the were rats can see in the dark. I understand, but you can swap that out for anything. It's always good for the players to find a +1 version of the thing that they actually wield. Like, I had Don John wondering where his actual guard employees are. You see, Don John's not actually been to this mine, but that's an idea, yeah. It could be that he's the firm that Don John works for usually has the same staff So he'll maybe get to know some of the guys' names, and he'll, oh, I saw you working up north at the so-and-so mine. Now you've been brought down here, have you? You know what I mean? They've been moved within the company sort of thing. But he's like, I don't know these guys. Why have they all got like really big sideburns and buck teeth? A little bit of a clue. So that's M4. Rats. Is it worth... Well, we'll wait. I'm going to say, is it worth looking at stats, but not yet. Hold on to your horses. In order, then, they could have already gone from M1 straight to M5 and M6, which would have been 2 were rats to take them up to M5. Oh, look, this is where there's loads of food and casks of drinking water for the miners and stuff, and were rats, I guess. That makes sense. So, let's show you around. This is where we keep the stuff. Oh, and the next bit is 12 wooden cots. This is where we sleep and stuff, but were rats probably don't sleep in beds, so that would have been for the miners. Looking at these beds, you would say they haven't been slept in. They're not really, they're not exactly dirty from the work. I've not seen a shower room yet, for example, Gold storage. Oh yeah, M7. Sure. M4 and M6 from the cot room would lead to M7 and 2 wheelbarrows and an empty bin. Not interesting. Not interesting at all. It's just... It looks like a good map, but it's dull. At what point are they going to get ambushed? I guess if they do go to M4, then once they're sort of deep inside and the were rats have 2 guards have backup, they can transform. And then it depends on how many players you've got. Because how many people did it actually say? It said 4 giants. You've got the 2 guards who are faking, then you've got 4 giant rats, and then you've got 1 in human form and 1 were rat for each member. That's a lot. That's a big fight. Yeah. And Don John's just a dude. He's not necessarily got any fight in him. So, M9. Look at the map, people. Where's M9? I see 10. Oh, there. M9. It's a dead end, yeah. So, did we just look at M8? M8, equipment storage. Yeah. Haven't we already done equipment? M4. Yes, scattered about pickaxes, shovels and mining tools. Another waste of a room. So, a dead end. There's a dead miner with a pickaxe. Inspection of the corpse reveals that the miner was stabbed to death. I would put that much earlier. I would have that in any of these, rooms we were saying there's nothing in. Forget the dead end. Erase the dead end. Plant a dead miner. And then the guards, if still under their disguise, are like, oh my god, yeah, there's something. So I think something's in this mine. Something's deeper in the mine, and it seems to be attacking us. It sort of gives that horror film feel of we don't know what is deep in the mine, even though they are what's deeper in the mine. And you can put on health potions, of course. That's your opportunity to put health potions in the pockets of miners or the were rats, just to help your party stay alive. The miner was stabbed to death. Maybe Don John does know this miner. The Overseer's office. Okay, so his office is actually deep inside. So the last Overseer did a runner once the were rats came in. What do we get about this? They ransacked this cave, whose furnishings include a desk, a chair, and an empty wooden chest. Because it's been looted, I suppose. But maybe there's things that the were rats wouldn't care about. Do were rats spend money like everybody else? Is there a safe that they couldn't get into with, if you need to, a health potion? And, as Micah suggested, a silver dagger? That would be a bit on the nose, wouldn't it? Why, I suppose that's a bit too... that's strange how they need a silver dagger, and now these are were rats. Yeah, I suppose that's a bit too much. M11. M11, is this another cave-in or something? Checker for comments. Nope. M11. A carrion crawler lairs in this tunnel, the north end of which is 20 feet up the mountain's rocky slope. Characters can scale the slope. The crawler can't open the door at the south end of the tunnel, so it clings to the ceiling. So there is an exit. There's a hole out into the east side, looking over 16. Fine. A carrion crawler, we could look at that before or after I give my tips. But all they're doing is climbing up there just to look out. I suppose get attacked by a carrion crawler. It's just underwritten. Sleeping quarters, 6 cots. Don't care. This cave contains 5 giant rats that attack anyone who opens the door to M14. So 13 is guarding 14. Okay. Second fight, so M4 is the big fight. M13. 5 giant rats. We've already done giant rats, but sure. Maybe we can find a different option of type of rat threat. 14 to 15, the miners retreat. The caves are home to 5 hungry dwarf miners. So there are miners here. One of which was stabbed. Do these know that? And they're just having dinner? They are commoners who speak common and dwarvish and who have dark vision. Yeah, fine. They refuse to surrender the mine to a bunch of filthy rats. But there are filthy rats just walking around and standing guard. And these 5 dudes are sort of... Does it mean hungry that they're starving? Oh, the weird rats assume these miners will flee or die. Okay. I still don't like it. But let's just say they're blocked in. These miners are blocked in. You see, these miners could make a good big fight in M4. Rather, it's like you just need to move the rooms about. You know, you walk in. Oh yeah, here's some rooms that give tiny clues. The beds haven't been slept in by dirty miners. That's weird. And then deeper in, the deeper you go, you see many of the supposed miners who don't fit the bill. There's something strange about them. Then you meet... you either go into the big pile of resistance in the way rats, or you find the miners. Depends on whichever order the players naturally take. So they either uncover a fight or they uncover the prisoners, as it were. We've been overtaken by shape-changing rats of some kind. M16 outside. The field contains a ring of earthen stones with pickaxes. Okay, dead. 10 dead miners. Are they going to get to 16? I don't know why they would ever find 16. It's just an odd one. I would move 16 to where the Mountain Toe gold mine is. From the entrance, they can maybe see mounds and pickaxes standing out of the ground like a graveyard. And then the dates that you use, the dates would say a week ago, a few days ago. No, because the mines are trapped. A week ago. So yeah, a lot of dead miners. And they find a dead miner inside. This is like just going by what the book gives us. And is that it? Is that the chapter? That is the chapter. That is the chapter. Well, I made some notes. No, there it is. Let's see what I wrote. So, you might have seen this before, but I put that deep within this Mountain Toe mine, adventurers discover an ancient forge that can imbue weapons with elemental powers. maybe that's why it's important, and these rats or whatever monster you put in there are trying to tap into this energy source that's been uncovered by accident. Like in a lot of films, they'll, out in Egypt, they'll find a tomb and it releases a curse or a power or something like that. The next one was that the miners be able to predict the future and talk about the destruction from dragons of Phandalin or the area, and the players hope that doesn't come true. They investigate a mysterious stone in the mine, perhaps. You could put traps. There's not enough traps. Wouldn't the Weir Rat have set, certain amount of precaution for when people come in? Obviously, they got the option of an elemental rift. Like, that could go where you want, really. Because some people like to tie these adventures, mix them up, and hop from one shot to the other. So you could go off and do a one shot, and if your players are, most of your players weren't there, you can go off, have that be a way out that week. Or obviously the mine is haunted by miners who met tragic ends, and you have to clear the mine because the ghosts are unhappy. Pretty standard stuff, really. But yeah, it's just another bit of a flat pancake, I think, as a chapter. And I was lost when I was running it. I was like, well, just a bit of a fight for a fight's sake. Should we look at the 2025 Monster Manual to see how that differs? The answer is yes, Chris. Bear with me. What are you actually running at the moment? So if you're watching the replay, or if you're watching live, you can add to that. What have I got on here? DM's Guide. I didn't mean to go on that. Monster Manual. I do like this Monster Manual. Not necessarily the PDF of it. Giant spider? What we're looking for? Rat. Giant rat. Now I need to end up showing you it. Stop this. Stop that. Present. Share the screen. This. See if you're seeing it. You are seeing it. Okay, so if we're going to do the map, the rats like it says, the new 2024 AC13. Okay. 2d6 hit points. So having 4 giant rats is not terrible, but this is the second wave of quests that they get. Okay. So if you imagine that they hit half of their attacks, they only have the one attack. So that's they could all attack one player though. Whoever's at the front, that's 4 rats. Half of them hitting, let's say, doing the average of 5 piercing. It's only 10 damage. At this rate, they're going to have more than 10 health. But there's the other actual Weir Rats which we need to add as well. The rat has advantage on an attack roll. Okay, so we'll call it 3 potential attacks out of 4 at that, hitting your players. And yeah, that's pretty much it. They're just an annoyance though, and let's say they all had 12 hit points. That's 48 hit points to burn through while you're trying to hit Weir Rats to death. So let's look at Weir Rats, if there's anything new. And I'm going to check that you're seeing what I'm seeing. You are. The Weir Rat. So we have 2 of those outside. You go in and I think there's another 2, wasn't there? Because, yeah, rat or hybrid form. Okay. AC 13, not terribly high. That's okay. But look at the health. Just on average it's 60. So hang on. I can't maths. So boop 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 boop. 121, and then there was potentially 4 of them in M4. It's 484 health. Then you've got another 48 health with the rats. All you've got is Don John. And you need to get those miners out. But the other, what would you use for the miners? You can't just use... You could use commoner stats, but it's a tough fight, potentially. Oh, and we've got the carrion crawler. So maybe in the office of the Overseer, the old Overseer's office, we need a lot of health potions. And then you don't feel so bad if they're not burning actions, bonus actions even, using health potions. It's like, it's up to you. And I would use the rule, if you use an action to do a health potion, you automatically get the full health. But it's a bonus action, you roll. We want our players to be alive. Our players really want to be alive by the skin of their teeth. So it's alright, especially on this sort of early starter adventure, to keep them alive. And maybe Don John always carries a little pack with a spare one in. Yeah. But what do they do? Well, they make 2 attacks, which makes it quite a problem. Using Scratch, Bite, Hand Crossbow. Well, why would miners be carrying Hand Crossbow? But is it a case of when they change everything they carry, any equipment it's carrying or wearing isn't transformed? So you've got these guard weirats who are carrying crossbows. Wouldn't you be like, how are you mining with a crossbow? You see what I'm saying? Which could be one of the clues we talked about, just tipping them off that something is unusual. So in rat or the human-y twist form, it's a +5 to hit, and it's 8 piercing damage from a bite. And con save, DC 11. Kind of low. The target is cursed. If the target drops to 0, it instead becomes a weir rat and has 10 hit points. Scratch +5 for 6 slashing. And the hand crossbow, similar, exactly the same. So yeah, these can be nasty. But of course you can drop that many, or... I mean, a weir boar, they're even worse. Weir bear, evidently, yep, even worse. So, not a weir tiger or a weir wolf. 71 health on a weir wolf. 60. So they are the smallest. That is fair to say. So that effectively, if I change back now to what we were looking at, that does seem like, yeah, if you're gonna give them any of these weir creatures, you don't give them anything other than weir rats. So, oops, that's not it. Gold to mine. Right, there we go. Boop. Okay, so if we've looked at that, I think, well, we've got a gap now. Who have we got? Watching? Thanks for watching this. Little bit of a chilled out live stream on a Sunday. This is the 3rd one in a row. Tomorrow I'll be filming the members only Radiant Citadel chapter. That yeah, there's 3 tiers of memberships. One's just for £1, and you just get shout outs now and again. That's just more just for support. Then it's $2.99 for the wizard one, which means you get early content and you get extra content, like with DM guides. You might get an extra video. Tomb of Annihilation has 3 extra videos so far. And then if you go for Archmage, which is $4.99 a month, Then you get extra live stream doing Radiant Citadel at the moment. And there's going to be campaign diaries because I start running D&D again next week for my home game. And I'm still trying to work out what to give the members. But yeah, if you ever are in a position to do it, even for a month, that would be awesome. But, you know, most of it's for free. I understand. It's just those people who want to. So, okay, we're looking at the right thing now. I want to go to Sidekicks, if I may. Because we haven't touched on it yet. Sidekicks. And I don't think I'd seen Sidekick rules. Sidekick rules before the Essentials kit. I seem to remember the cards and stuff were one of the exciting new ideas. And in fact, I ran this for my son, and it only him, one player, and he wasn't level 1, 2, 3, or 4. He might have been level 6, something like that. I think. Is that right? Is that right? Yeah, he wasn't level 1. And we gave him a sidekick. So because he was only on his own, when you're having like 4 weird rats and etc., you know, he needed help. So we gave him a sidekick. And here we have 3 types. Expert, jack of all trades, a magic user. I gave my son a magic user. A martial companion who specialises in striking your foes or defending you and your allies. So you don't have to use this name, obviously. We for some reason called ours Shan Jan Quan. This just cool young guy under my son's wizard. He was a trainee wizard and levelled up alongside my son. And by levelling up, all I mean is he got a +1 to his attacks and damage. He got +2 to his attacks and damage. Maybe we threw him another spell. It was just, you know, that was it really. So we've got stat blocks coming up. There is some nice touches with the personality, ideal bonds and flaws. They have been dropped of 2025, but yeah, it's nice. Human expert. Most treasured possession is a fiddle that he tunes. He's a music guy. Then we have a bit of a cool looking character. Looks more like the Shan Jan Quan that we imagined actually. This is a lady. Is it a lady? Yes. She was grazed by an orc's javelin. I mean, it's got a cool scar on your cheek. What's not to like? We'll look at the stat block soon. And then finally, oh no, not finally, but Nib. I do know the name. A happy-go-lucky gambler who keeps a deck of 3 Dragon Ante cards in her vest. She also has a goldfinch. Oh yeah, I thought it was her ponytail. Yeah, that's cool. I like the idea of that. Pickled Pete. Pete likes ale and tends to function better while tipsy. He's the drunken master. Quite the handyman and comes up with all sorts of crazy ways to get things done. These could just be used as NPCs, of course, but the idea is that this comes along with the adventuring party if needed, and especially if the players don't turn up one week. This is how you say, Haben Westers wants you to take, you know, Don John Raskin to the mine along with this other person who just wants work experience, you know. There's a lot of them, isn't there? I don't remember there being so many. A shield dwarf, Ruby lacks the dwarven stoicism, and greets every day with optimism, essentially. There he is, Shan Jian Quan. I thought we'd made up the name. This is who we used. Awesome. I told you it was cool. He was raised from the dead as an infant. I can see why my son got it. Whereupon a tiny black glyph, the symbol of necromancy, appeared on his forehead. Now my son he's now a level 30 wizard, and is the new big bad of our next campaign, which he doesn't know officially yet. So, Talon loves gold and adventure and dreams of being a famous gold prospector. All of these can die through the course of this. So if you want some red shirt from Star Trek to be the person who gets eaten by a dragon or something. But if you're going to do that, have them talk to the players a lot and have a real connection built between them so that you can slaughter the people they have grown attached to. Because it's fun. And Spellcaster. Starts off squishy, 9 health. He's a healer. See, that's useful. I think that's why we gave my son a wizardy healer. Yeah, can cast Cure Wounds. Firebolt's pretty fair. Sacred Flame. Has a quarterstaff that he never used. And studded leather for AC of 14 for the expert. The warrior has a longsword. Does he have multi-attack? No. But you could give him multi-attack, of course. Yeah. Suggestions here on the sidekick level, which we didn't do. But this is helpful, isn't it? You can just get... The Essentials kit is so cheap that it's worth doing just to get your hands on these little things, particularly for newer players, but even for existing full-on parties. You get up to 6th level. This is going to see you through this adventure, and all we're doing here is creating memories, right? So, sidekicks. Have you guys ever used sidekicks? Is anyone going to let me know? But have any of you watching never run Icespire Peak? It's not the best, but it's better than nothing, and kind of because it's quite empty gives you the opportunity to not have to memorise a load of detail. It's like, well, there's not much detail, so I'll just add bits in quite comfortably because it's underdone. I think maybe that was kind of the idea, not to be overfacing. So yeah, I think we're done. I think we're done for this week. We looked at Mountain Toe. We've covered sidekicks. Unless any of you guys have anything to say, I think we might easily be done. We'll probably cover 2 chapters next week. I think I'm free next Sunday. So we'll cut through another 2. Let's just have a quick look at what that would entail. Because no one's wanting to talk to me. Which is fine. No, I need to go to the actual Forgotten Realms map. In fact, no, I need to go to the quests. I need to go to the quest. The adventure begins. What? So I'm doing these by kind of common order from travel's point of view. Yes. Mountain Toe. So the others, are there 4? Are there 5? What? There's 6. Oh, everything opens up. Okay, so we need to look at the map then. Not that one. So I did like Umbridge Hills nearest, then Nomengard, Dwarven, Excavation. Don't think I've done Axholme. Shine of Savras, Butterskull Ranch, Circle of Thunder. Yeah, all these outer ones I haven't touched, which means we'll have to look at Axholme. Potentially Tower of Storms. So I'm thinking that will be a next week. So that'll do for us. I thank you so much and hope to see you next week. You can comment on any of the videos. I love getting comments at any time and try and reply. So take it easy. I bid you farewell.